I own a real estate firm, and inside of we have a brokerage. We do fix and flips. We do wholesaling. So, and I work with VAs. My main thing now is how to scale each of these divisions without having one have to, take the back seat to the other. So I'm trying to scale all of these things and just trying to keep everything systemized. My main thing, the reason why I linked up with Matt is because I felt he was real good at systems, and that was the part that I felt was needed in my business is systems. So I just trying to figure out how to automate and systemize things, so I don't have to be the one in every decision and my hand is on every task.
Right. Do you have employees that work for you already or a virtual assistant?
Yeah, so I have about four virtual assistants. I have about estate agents. I have an assistant. I have two creative team videography interns. We have a pretty healthy team. I have a partner on my wholesaling business. So it's about 15 of us right now. And an inside sales agent. We got an inside sales agent as well. And I think once I can master the systems and getting everything flowing,
Hmm.
will really be dangerous when I can just hit the button on marketing and everything kind of.
Right. Yeah, and that's what we're really good at is developing these processes and documenting them so that we can just hand those off, to virtual assistants or even in-office employees.
Mhm.
So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. People can jump in, at any point, but we'll go ahead and get started. So today, what we're talking about is just the virtual assistant marketing setup. So when we hire our virtual assistants, we train them. And we actually hired like a main virtual assistant that oversees all of these new virtual assistants that we bring on and train for our marketing. So that's kind of how we scale is we have one who is kind of the manager over the other VAs in this particular area. So her only job is to find and hire and train these virtual assistants, and then to periodically check in, make sure they're doing well, keep them updated on any new training. And that is her sole job.
So the head VA is responsible for recruiting other VAs and making sure that they're getting up to speed and
Right.
everything like that. And what do you pay the head VA to watch the other VAs?
I'm sorry, did you say what do we pay?
Yes, the head VA.
Um, well, she's currently making $8 an hour. I believe she started at 6. And so, after a probationary period, she was doing very well. So we bumped her up. And that's kind of what we do with all of our VAs. We'll, monitor their progress, see how they're doing. And then usually we'll bump up their pay, especially if we started them out lower. We usually start our VAs lower on the lower end, like $3 an hour. Sometimes even between 2 and 4 for like the training period, just to make sure they're gonna stick with it and they're gonna work out for us. And then after we have them for a little while, we usually will bump up that pay. So that's what we have her at now to oversee all of these VAs. And what she does is she does recruit. So she may know people personally. She's from the Philippines, so she may have people there networking, and then sometimes she'll even go on like Upwork and those sites. But the ones that we've been hiring, she's actually found totally on her own without our help. Just her recruiting, different VAs that she thought would be a good match. So that's part of her job there. And then also her job is to collect the invoices. So we pay our virtual assistants from the Philippines through TransferWise. That's just how we choose to pay. And every Monday, she'll collect all of their invoices. I think we have like 10 virtual assistants. We might have more. There's a few onboarding right now. But she'll make sure she has all of those invoices, and we'll pay those all at the same time. And then she handles, obviously, all of the training, all of the onboarding, and everything like that for each virtual assistant.
Okay.
And so this is just a list. She actually started to put this together and I just added to it. And this is a working document, so we're always adding things. But these are just when we first bring on a new virtual assistant, these are the things that they're trained in right away. So the list pulling, all of these documents will bring us to the actual page. So if we want to go into any detail on these, just let me know. But this is list sources. So it includes exact data, list source, listability. But specifically right now, what we're focused on is exact data vacant houses. And so the virtual assistant is brought on and given the how-to on how to request and get that list. And then in Sherpa, do you use Sherpa already?
We use Roar.
Okay.
So as far as our text blast, so what all does Sherpa, is that text blast and other things? Like it's so much stuff out here that I think that's probably why I'm so confused because I mean, okay, so I'm getting coaching from Matt. Then Matt's pushing his systems, and then you look at something else, and it's just a lot,
Right. And
So
that's one of the things too that you can always have a virtual assistant do, is maybe send them an email and say, can you do like a quick comparison? So take Sherpa and take Roar and take, you get all these platforms thrown at you. Just have them maybe do a price comparison, maybe like what those systems are specifically used for. So Sherpa, we use it only for text blasting. So it doesn't really do anything else. We use a separate system for calling, a separate system for ringless voicemail drops. Sherpa is only for texting. So if you have a platform and it's working well for you, then that's great. But if you ever do want to check into something, maybe see, the price difference or if Sherpa might work out better, you can always have a virtual assistant do a comparison on
and what's
those.
your name again? I'm sorry.
I'm sorry.
What's your name?
Amanda. And sorry, I have my video turned off. It's been a rough morning. Let's see if I can turn that on.
Oh, good. So Amanda, so you're Matt's sister.
Yes.
All right. I think he talks about you a lot. That's
Yeah,
why.
I don't know if you can see me, but I actually have twins. They're 5.5 months old, but they're really like 2.5 months old because they were born so early.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, scheduling things is like trying to do it around their schedule. But
No, that's fine. It's all good. So okay.
let's see. So that's Sherpa, and we do teach them everything on that. So let's say you want to keep using Roar. You would just maybe have your virtual assistant put together a process for that. So you can copy basically what is in ours and just go through the steps that you would use for your system. And that way, if you ever have any turnover, you just literally would take your how-to document and send that over to the new virtual assistant. And then there's not any learning gap or anything like that. They just take this and run with it. So this is sort of what it looks like on signing up. I don't know if yours looks the same way, but you have your campaigns. It actually allows you to skip trace. So I don't know if Roar does that, but we use Sherpa skip trace for a lot of our skip tracing.
Mm-hmm.
And then, you can obviously search for prospects. So if someone contacts you, your call forwarding number or something says they want to be removed, you can just go in here and mark do not call. But basically it's just skip tracing and then texting.
Okay. So let me ask you this. So why would you need a Google Doc if you have it in Sweet Process?
So we do have Sweet Process. This is like an easier working document that we can share with like students and clients and stuff like that. We usually will take something like this and then format it into maybe like a little booklet, or Matt's done books and training guides and stuff like that, and he could do that out of Sweet Process too, but we found this just works a little bit easier right now for us, because we do have a lot of these different training guides, and not everyone right now has access to our Sweet Process. So that's just why we choose to do it this way right now. Do you use Sweet Process for your
Well,
company?
I do. Since going through Matt's course, I use it now.
Yeah,
I'm not the one putting in the processes, but my team is. Uh,
yeah.
we use
And we actually do occasionally, we'll take these and then add them to our Sweet Process. We always do it this way first though, because then we can share it easily with you guys, and put it out there, and then share it with like Fiverr, so that they can create a book for it. And we have all of our, just everything, it's easily editable. So yeah, we do go back and sometimes put a lot of these things in Sweet Process. But right now I'm just using the Word document to show you guys how we go through all this stuff.
okay.
Let's see, where was I? Um,
And who would be the one to create this? I know
um,
Pat can do it, so because I wouldn't be the one to do it, does it, but I would like to have this. Like, I don't want to. I want to mirror everything that you all tell me to do. So,
yeah. I actually create most of these unless I'm not familiar with the area. So like we have a lot of different things going on. We have obviously like our warehouse and materials, our rehabs. We have our property management company. So there's a lot of different things going on, and I do primarily like acquisitions. I help on like marketing for sales and things like that. But when it comes to like the nitty gritty of property management, for example, like I might not know like anything about collections. So the person in property management in that particular area would put together a how-to. Literally everyone in our company knows how to do this and is required to put together something like this for their process. So I would just have whoever is working on that for you be required to create the training for you, and then make sure you have, you know, edit access, make yourself the owner if you don't have. So we use uh, is it G Suite? It's a company-wide email system. So if somebody, you know, quits or leaves or anything like that, we have access to all of their working documents, their email. They no longer have access when they leave. So you just want to make sure you protect all of your stuff. So if you don't have something like that set up, just make sure you're the owner of it, and that way you can always change access at any time.
okay. So whoever's working the process creates the process.
Yes.
And did you? And I'm gonna let you finish. Go ahead and move on. But is there an outline, or is this basically just?
Yeah, so just pretty much what you see here, there's usually a title of whatever it is you're working on, and then bullet points. So like creating your account, and then it goes into how to create your account, and then creating campaigns. So I just do it pretty much step by step, and then I just label the step, and then underneath that, you know, each part of the process. So just like in Suite Process, I think there's like procedure, and then there's processes. And then pretty much the procedure is like the big picture thing, and then the process is broken down into the little pieces that go in to make that up. So that's kind of what this is, creating the campaign. There's a couple of steps to do that. So I just do this like, you know, bullet point and then each of the small little sections here. And then we do screenshots of everything so that it's easy to follow along too. So I would just make sure that they do that, because sometimes if it's just written down, it's easy to, you know, not exactly know where you're looking and that sort of thing. Pictures just make it a ton easier.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's that. I don't know if you want to go through this since you don't use Sherpa, but we can go back to the training here. So we do teach them all of that. And again, if you use a different system, you can still teach your virtual assistant. You'll just have to kind of create the process or have whoever's working on it for you create that, and you'll be good to go.
Okay.
And then we teach them Podio. So we show them how to enter in the seller leads and then how to fill out the lead sheet. Because when leads come in, sometimes they're incomplete and they'll have to go to the tax website, get square footage and that sort of thing. So we show them all of that. We explain the CRM and how it works. So all the push buttons, you know, pushing over to the offers app. Do you use Podio?
I used to. I just got rid of Podio because I just never really liked it. I never really just get all the way into it. I switched over to Monday.com actually, and it's been working better for me.
Oh, okay. What's it called? Monday.com?
Monday.com. It's just a cleaner interface. I just like it better. It's like it's with the modern times. And it's
Yeah.
customizable just like Podio is. I just I just feel better using that, and we've created a system around Monday and putting everything in Monday.
Okay, perfect. So again, then it looks like you have your own system set up for that. So then, yeah, as long as you have, you know, the process in place, you can easily hand that off. But that's what we teach our virtual assistants there. So, you know, filing the receipts, creating the campaigns. So, you know, that includes all campaigns through all of the different platforms. So Sherpa, cold calling, direct mail. They know how to create all of that, as well as the next one is CallRail. Do you use CallRail?
Yeah, we do. And this is one of the main things that I really need to, that's on my list today. I had onboarding call with my partner. We got to get the call flows down in CallRail. That's the one thing I've been struggling with.
Okay. Yeah. What exactly? You just don't know how to set up the call flow?
Let me. It'll be easier for me to start with ideally what I would want and try to see if CallRail could even do that.
Okay.
Really, what I would want is, whatever numbers on our marketing material, it calls into the office. And as you know, real estate is a 24/7 business. So if someone calls after 7 when no one's in the office or on the weekend, I would like for it to roll over to Pat Live so someone can answer the phone.
Yeah, so it's possible. There's two different ways I think that you can set that up. The first way is have your actual, so CallRail is going to go to your office phone. Now have your office phone, I don't know what system or company that you use, have that set up to then forward to Pat Live. So it wouldn't be through CallRail, it would be through your office phone. After a certain hour, it automatically will then forward. So it'll kind of go through two different forwarding numbers. You could try it that way if your system is set up to do that. Otherwise, you can have your virtual assistant just manually go into your CallRail and just change that call flow at that specific time and then just change it back. It's a little bit more work because it's not automated, but it's really fast. You just go and literally click the down button and switch the call flow. So you can do it that way.
Would you trust the VA to do that every day?
I mean, I hope so. If they're, as long as they're at work, if it's like, if you make sure that they are working during that time, they're supposed to be, then yeah, I would trust the VAs that we hire, because if they don't, they're not going to last long. So, and you can always check a couple of times, always, trust but verify type of thing. Mm-hmm. But it might be easier to automate it if that's a possibility with your office phone. But if it's not, then there is that other option.
Okay.
And so, yeah, we teach them all of that stuff, how to set up all those call flows and the campaigns and the phone numbers within CallRail. Did that answer your question, or do you have any other questions about that?
That answered my question. I mean, I think this is getting CallRail set up is one of the last pieces to the system that I need to get in place. Because right now we can get calls in because I've just been trying to figure out that call system.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. And then do you use cold calling?
Yeah, we use Mojo.
Okay, so that is one of the trainings too that we show all of our virtual assistants. They're trained in Mojo, how to set that up, how to upload the list and start calling, and then where to find the reports, the number of calls so they can update you guys, and then help with setup if using a third party. So some people, instead of having a virtual assistant use Mojo, they like to use a third party cold calling service. We use Lead Mining right now, and so we will help set that up or manage the list and follow the receipts with that too. So there's a couple of different options there that the virtual assistant is trained in.
So you said Lead Mining is, that's what y'all use for y'all cold calling? Is that like a call center?
They're specifically organized in the way that, like, they only do cold calling. So it's not an incoming call center like an Answer One or probably a Pat Live. It's an outgoing call center, and they do have American callers and foreign VAs, and we actually use the foreign VAs and do just fine with that. But if you're ever interested, let us know. I think we do have an affiliate link for that, so make sure you let us know if you're interested so that we can set you up with like an introduction or something there.
So your VAs, they just basically they just find motivation. They're not closing and all that, right?
So we actually do show them that. That's one of the ones at the bottom here, transaction coordination, and then the closing process. So we have virtual assistants for different things. We don't have one just doing all of this. We have, I guess, them sectioned off. So one will do, like, when we did have one doing the Mojo cold calling, because we did do that before we switched over to a third party, that was their full-time job. They didn't have their hands in a bunch of different things. And then the same with like acquisitions, the same with, the sales, same with, I'm trying to think of what else. We just hired a bookkeeper. So we try to keep them as separate as possible so that they can focus and, be really good at that one thing. But sometimes they do overlap. So like Daisy, she's my primary virtual assistant, and she mostly does acquisitions, but she does a lot for property management too. So you could have them do multiple things.
Okay, but you saying from your experience, it's best to have them to specify in one thing, but some people can overlap. But just yeah.
Yeah, and it depends on the job. So like cold calling is a full-time job, especially if you want them on the phone all day.
Mm-hmm.
But they also need to know how to do acquisitions, put in those lead sheets and that kind of thing. So it overlaps a little there. But if it's a job that you're going to be having them do full time, then it's probably best to have a different virtual assistant. Maybe like if you have someone, you know, finding title companies or attorneys or, you know, building your cash buyers list or that sort of thing. You don't want that to be your cold caller because that's going to take time away from them being on the phone.
Exactly.
So that's pretty much what we do. And then we teach them how to gather property pictures. So we put this together actually where it combines the seller photos and walkthrough sheets. So I don't know if you've seen this, but this is basically when you have a house that you're interested in, but you don't actually walk every property, you can have the seller do the hard work and take the photos for you. They can even put those in a Dropbox link and send you that link. And you can always give them instructions if they're not tech savvy. A lot of people do know how to do this, or texting from a phone will work. But also there's this walkthrough sheet. So I'll scroll down past this Dropbox portion here. And so we send this to the seller and ask them to send this back to us when they send us the pictures so that we can just get a rundown of the condition and the home information. And again, that way they're doing all the work for us. We don't have to send anyone. And then when we look at this information in the photos and we see what their asking price was and, you know, how much they bought the property for, decide if it's a good deal, this really helps us out. So then we can send somebody after we decide it's a good deal.
Okay.
So they're trained in all of this. And then building the cash buyers list. So they use a lot of the free online sites like Craigslist, Google, finding wholesalers, like We Buy Houses type things, and build it that way. We actually had another way too. I don't know if you guys have seen the Hunter.io. Have you seen that one? So that one's more like the turnkey cash buyers. Let me see if I can find that.
Will
I'm sorry?
Will you be able to share these docs with me?
Yeah, and actually, I don't know, do you guys have like a back office or anything like that that Tyler uploads documents from like the trainings and stuff? Do you know? If not, I can ask him.
I don't think so. I mean, when I signed up, you know, he sent a couple back-to-back emails with docs in them, but I hadn't got other stuff since.
Okay, got it. So yeah, we can, this whole thing here I can share and it'll have all of these different, let's see. We're always adding to it, so. All right, so basically, yeah, this one is for turnkey buyers. And Hunter.io is just an app that allows you to search for email addresses, but it does need to be a company email. So it can't just be like your personal Gmail account or something like that. But we have been able to find a lot of turnkey buyers using this service here, and they do offer a free trial, so you can always test it out before you decide you want to, you know, do like a subscription or anything like that. But basically, let's see, this is what it looks like. It's really simple. You log on and you just search either the company domain name, or it'll even, you can search personal, but it's not going to come up with a personal email account. So like when I say you can search personal, I think that's like personal name or company name. You can search there, or if you do know the domain, and then click search, and then the results will show up. Let's see. So there will be occasions when it won't find emails, and then there's a you know, we added this, the reasons why it doesn't show emails. So that's kind of the rundown there. So it's hit or miss. Test it out. It's free, free trial until you decide you want to move forward with it. Okay. And then they're also trained to run comps and get ARV. So we like to use the MLS when possible. So if you have a realtor that you work with, you said that, did you say you are a broker or you work with a realtor?
No, I'm a broker. I have
yeah. Okay, so you have access to the MLS, and That's perfect. Yeah, that's definitely preferred way to get comps. So obviously, if people don't have access, you know, there are those sites, Zillow, Trulia, just to find solds. And then how to get ARVs. So we show them that, and then appointment setting and cold calling. So we kind of went over the cold calling. Appointment setting is basically just if they get an interested seller on the phone, we help them set up those walkthrough appointments for our acquisition guy,
Hmm.
and then they can get any other information there.
Okay.
And then this is what you asked about earlier, the transaction coordination and closing process. So we have two separate documents just because the transaction coordination part starts when you're creating the contract. The closing process pretty much will tell you step by step how it's supposed to run as far as timelines and making sure things you know, don't drag out. So for example, if an appraisal needs to be ordered, you're not waiting, you know, 4 weeks and saying, hey, where's the appraisal? Hasn't been ordered. You want to make sure everything stays on track. So this is actually our internal document that I'm showing you here. You can see it has like my name, who does what, our title company, and then who's responsible for what. So you could always take this, plug in the names, you know, virtual assistant names or who you want to assign certain things. But it goes through like the title work request, the appraisal order. Whereas the transaction coordination document, again, we'll start with like creating that contract. And I do that too. So like you can always have your virtual assistant create contracts, get them signed by the seller. And so that kind of goes through that process there. So I would say if you're going to have like a virtual assistant do your transaction coordination, maybe make them responsible for that piece and the closing process, along with maybe like running the comps, just making sure the deal is good and it stays, it flows smoothly throughout the entire time.
Okay. And it just uses VAs for all this. Nobody in house.
Well, me. So it's just me. And then we do have our acquisition guy who's like the boots on the ground that after we are interested in a property, he will set up that walkthrough and, you know, go get additional pictures, assess the condition of the house. That way we can renegotiate with the seller. So, you know, we'll present our offer. He'll be kind of the one that's in contact with the seller the whole time. So if they have any questions, he's the face that they see. Other than me and him, though, for acquisitions, it's all virtual assistants. So they do a lot of the like paperwork, the coordination, the tracking, a lot of things like that for us.
Okay, that's impressive. One guy's handling all that.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I got people in house. I mean, I'm not gonna say I wish, but you know, with these docs, I'd be able to hire VAs to do a lot of this stuff,
Yeah,
cut down my costs. But a lot of my people are commission only, so because I get agents who are already used to that lifestyle.
right. Yeah, and I'm not sure what Matt has set up with him, but I think it is kind of a commission-based thing too. So with me, it's not that way. I'm just full-time. You know, I've been working for him for almost 8 years, I think, in January. Um, but he's like, I think it's commission-based every acquisition that closes, kind of how his is set up also. Um, and so this is a working document, like I said. You know, as we add training, we obviously have our virtual assistant. I think it was, I forget what the name of the book was called that Matt put together. It was All Virtual Assistant, what virtual assistants can do for you. And so there's so much more that you can teach a virtual assistant. But right now what we have Hazel, she's the head VA that we have, going over with the new VAs that we bring on for our clients, because we have something set up where we'll actually do the hiring for the virtual assistants. We'll screen them, we'll do everything like that. And then, you know, I don't know how it like works internally. Tyler, I think, deals a lot with that stuff, but we'll pass those over to our clients. And then they pay us pretty much to use the virtual assistant that we have screened, hired, and trained. So I know you already have your own virtual assistants, but that's a lot of what we're doing right here. And so when she brings those virtual assistants on to work for the clients that we have, this is what she goes over with them right now. And we're always adding to it. So as soon as she teaches like a new process or a new system, she'll add it to this document here. And then I'll just link the how-to that I created. so that they can easily just click into that and follow those steps.
Okay.
And then the fact sheet, it's really new. So it doesn't have a lot on it right now, but for example, if you had any questions and maybe I couldn't answer those right now, or maybe I even could, but others might have the same question, we could add those here to the fact sheet. And then that way, if anyone has the same question later on, you know, a client or even a virtual assistant, they can come here. So this is a question about lead mining, which is the cold calling company that we use. And then another lead mining question. So it's literally just any questions that a client might have after we bring them on and give them a VA to work with. And she goes into detail on these types of things. That is that one.
So when the lead comes in, you send it to the VA that runs the comp. So when the VA runs the comps, they send it to the VA or the acquisitions guy to, okay.
Okay, so how it kind of works is, so we have, you know, direct mail going, ringless voicemail, all of these things, right? All of those get sent into Podio. And from there, it shows up in our seller leads in Podio. And so I don't know what your system looks like, but it's just, it captures, I'll show you. I know you had Podio before, but I'll show you kind of how it works. So like lead mining, for example, they get on the phone, they're calling people, they have a lead. They fill out the web form we give them, which goes directly into Podio, and it falls here in the seller leads.
I'm listening.
Oh, no, you're good. I was just waiting on the page to load. So once it gets here, what happens is I will get a notification of a new lead as well as my virtual assistant. So this is one that came in 5 hours ago that has not been worked yet. And so what happens is she'll get this, this notification here. She'll come to this page and fill in anything she can. So she'll connect to the campaign. So every phone number is going to be linked to a CallRail campaign. So what she'll do is go into our CallRail account, and then she will find out what campaign this came from, and she'll select the correct campaign. And then she'll just go through and fill out any information from like the tax website, so year bill, square footage. So virtual assistant has, you know, first look at this, she'll fill out everything that she can. And from there, I'll come in and see if it's a good lead. So what I'm looking for is, you know, how much did they buy the house for and when? So and make sure there's equity. Is it in a flood zone? If it's in a flood zone, it automatically dies. We don't buy any houses in a flood zone. Or if you come up here to the top, if you see that it's, sometimes we'll buy vacant lots in certain areas, sometimes we don't. So I'll just look at all of this information to make sure it's a property we buy. Let's say it is. So from here, what I'll do is I'll tag the acquisition guy, who is Eric, and let him know it's a good lead. And from there, he'll call the seller and set up that walkthrough appointment. So we haven't talked offers, we haven't done anything. He's just trying to get in the house to build that rapport with the seller, get the condition and the pictures of the house. Once he has that, he'll come back to the seller lead sheet, upload all of that information and tag me. And then from there, I'll make an offer based on the photos and the condition and that sort of thing. So that's one of the benefits of having that, having the seller send you the photos and the condition. It won't be maybe as accurate as having someone on your team do it, just because your team is going to be looking out for you, you know, and looking at everything they can find. Whereas the seller might, you know, skip a few things where they don't want you to see the condition of the house. So that's the only difference. It's still really good and it'll be fine. You can renegotiate later if, you know, you end up walking the house and need to. But for people who maybe don't have that acquisition guy, that's where that piece would come in. But once we make the offer, that acquisition guy pretty much does everything until he has the signed contract. So he'll be on the phone with the seller, negotiating, get that, you know, he'll request the contract. I do the creation of the contract, which a virtual assistant can easily do that too. I just have always done it. And then from there, he gets it signed. And then the transaction process would start then. So then your VA could follow everything. So once the contract is signed, that's when you would go forward with like running the comp. So we don't do any of that until we have it under contract, if that makes sense.
So the VAs run the comps, and then once you get it under contract, you'll run it. And if the comps are wrong, you just retrade or negotiate the price down?
So our virtual assistant, I actually run all the comps just because it's one of the things I like to do. Virtual assistant's totally trained in it and she's done it before. but I don't run the comps. Nobody runs comps until after we have it under contract. The rare exception is if there's a house that we want to maybe offer a lot on, or we're not getting any inspections. So I know a lot of MLS deals sometimes, you can't get inspections or that sort of thing. We want it to be as accurate as possible initially. But for sell by owner deals, we can always renegotiate. So we're not that worried. We know the area well enough that we know what a house is going to be worth. And if you don't, you can always look at, Zillow or that sort of thing. But we've been buying Matt's from the Quad Cities. So he can just look at an address and tell you. And I've gotten that good where I can pretty much do the same thing. So I don't run comps on any of the houses until after we have it under contract. And that's only just to make sure, within the last year, if it appraises, it's going to, be at that appraisal value. So we're figuring the rehab and everything, getting it at a good price.
So how y'all come up with the number to make the offer if you don't run?
So I just use an estimated. So like basically in my head, just because like I said, I know the area, I know if it's going to be worth 85, 90,000, but someone who might not know that stuff, we just tell them, go to Zillow, go to Trulia. You can quickly look at the solds. I know it's not going to be like super accurate, but you can get a pretty good idea of maybe what the house is going to be worth. Take that number and then look at the pictures and the condition that you got. Just figure in a quick rehab estimate, subtract your profit, closing costs, and now you have your maximum offer price. Take maybe another couple thousand away from that for negotiation, and that's your first offer. And that's what we do pretty much on every deal so that we can throw those offers out really fast because we get so many leads coming in that we can't possibly run comps on every single one of them.
That makes a lot of sense. I'm trying to process it to how I'm gonna do it. But I mean, it don't take me no time. Like what you just explained, I can do that. Like I can tell what it's worth, but I need to figure out how to transfer that to them.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, and Matt, for a while we would, take a little more time and, go through the steps of the process and stuff. But like I said, after a while you get comfortable with it. Because even in the beginning when he told me, just start making offers, I wasn't like the most comfortable. I was like, oh, I don't know. What if I make like too much? Or what if I have those same fears. Like I'm nobody special. Like I feel the same way a lot of people do when they get started with this stuff. But, comfort level just increases the more you do it. So. And you can give them some tools like, go to Zillow, look at this, estimate this for rehab. I think we even have like a quick like rehab estimate too. Like, I don't know if I can pull it up here. But it would just, quick rehab numbers. And so obviously it's not going to be super accurate. If you're going to be the one doing the rehab, once you have it under contract, that's when we send our guys and get a real rehab bid so that we know exactly what we're getting into. But just real quick, when you're having like a virtual assistant do this, these are just really fast numbers that they can use. So if you're just trying to hand that off to them, say, hey, use this estimate minus this, minus these closing costs, and then just have them get to the number that way.
Okay.
Yeah, so I think that's about it for because we were talking about training the virtual assistant for marketing, but obviously if you have any other questions about anything else that I can answer right now, or I can get Tyler to share this with you guys too, and then if you have anything later, you can let us know on that.
I definitely would like to get those docs shared with
you.
My other question is, I don't know, I slipped my mind.
No worries.
Quiet the whole time.
Yeah, no worries. Yeah, if you think of it later, I mean, are you in Facebook group? Is that, do you
I signed up, but I don't even think I'm utilizing everything that comes with it. So,
okay. I'm sorry, you cut out. What did you say?
I said, what's the name of the Facebook group? I haven't been utilizing all the tools.
I think it's like Matt VIP. I'll have to ask Tyler because I think I'm not in there a lot either unless I get tagged on something. You know what? We might have to just ask Tyler. I think it's like Matt VIP, if I'm not mistaken. But either way, Tyler can get this out. I know he has everybody's emails, right? Because you got the link to be able to be here today.
Yeah, I just bought the program, so.
Yeah, and I have your name and we'll definitely make sure you get this. So no worries there. I just didn't know if there was like a platform that everybody was in that, you know, he maybe could share this so everyone else had it too. But
Okay.
yeah. So any other questions you can think of right now?
Not right now. I guess I'll try to message you in the Facebook group that you're not in.
Yeah. I mean, I'm sure I'm in it. If Matt's in it, I think I'm in it. I'm hardly ever on. So
I won't abuse it. But if I got a question, how could I ask or?
yeah, so you can, I have an email. It's just a Milne, Milne, and then that's at easystreetprops.com. And I don't know what Tyler's telling people for questions. I'll have to ask him about that, just because I'm sure there's, you know, somewhere that he'd probably prefer questions to be directed to. But if you think of something, just email me and I can help you out.
It won't. It probably won't be anything. But
Yeah, no worries.
I remember my question from the day, I'll email you.
Yeah, that'll work.
This will
And
do.
we'll make sure you get this too. If you actually want to email me, like after this call, I'll just send this to you right now. And then I'll figure out if Tyler wants to send it out to everyone else too.
All right. I'll definitely email you now.
Okay, perfect.
LNE@easystreetprops.com.
Yes.
Gotcha.
Yep,
And
sounds good.
Friday at 2, right?
I'm sorry?
Every Friday, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's I don't know how he has a schedule set up for next month. This month I did 3 Fridays and then 1 Friday off, but I know they do like Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, and it's always a different person each time. I think Matt usually does the Wednesdays. So Tyler creates the schedule and hopefully it'll be coming out soon because it is almost September. So we'll see.
No problem. Thank you. I appreciate it, Amanda.
Yeah, no problem. Well, you have a good weekend, I guess.
All right. You
All
too.
right. See you later.